Ugali is made from maize flour and water. It's a doughy maize-based carbohydrate that is served along with stews, beans, or greens several times a week in most Kenyan households. I'm going to show you what it takes for the average Kenyan family to make their ugali from the field to the table. Because the climate in Kenya is tropical, white maize can be grown in the garden or field with a couple of crops produced per year. It is basically the same as our yellow corn, although the variety grown to dry and make maize flour is different than the kind that we eat fresh as corn on the cob. The maize is planted in anticipation of one of the rainy seasons, which typically falls between October to November or March and April. Climate change is starting to disrupt that, making rains more unpredictable, however. Often Kenyan maize fields look a little sparse because fertilizer and hybrid seeds are expensive, and sometimes the rains don't come as predicted. Once the maize matures and the cobs are formed on the stalk, they are let to dry a little bit on the stalk before being harvested. Once picked, there are several stages of drying that include leaving the husks out in the sun, then stripping the husks from the corn and letting the cobs dry out for a few days. After that, the kernels are stripped from the cob and once again left in the sun for 2 or 3 days to dry. It's important to be sure that the kernels are very dried out before they are stored in closed bags. In the past, people might have added a bit of ash from burned bean husks to the mixture to ward off weevils and help keep the mixture dry. Recently, however, there are newer storage bags available that are easier to seal and keep out humidity and bugs. The maize can be stored for several months in this way. When the cook wants to make ugali or anything else using maize flour, they retrieve the amount of maize they will need from their storage room. They first prepare the maize before taking it to the posho mill by pouring it from container to container to get rid of dust, a procedure that's called winnowing. Sometimes sorghum is added to the mix for a bit more taste and nutrition. Rural communities have posho mill establishments scattered every couple of kilometers. The proprietor measures the maize, currently charging the client about 15 Kenyan shillings, that's about 12 cents Canadian, for each can of dry, hard kernels that will be ground. The maize is fed through the grinder that is powered either by electricity or diesel and collected in bags or pails as a very fine, powdery flour. The flour is usually used at home within a week, as after that it starts to taste a bit bitter. The ugali is made immediately before the meal. The maize flour is gradually added to a pot of fully boiling water and stirred constantly until the mixture is thickened and the desired consistency, firm but not stiff. Ugali is a practical, filling, inexpensive basic food. The maize can be grown at home, stored for months when dried, and ground into flour as needed at the local posho mill. The water for preparation is boiled so it is clean, and the preparation time is only about 10 minutes. If there are leftovers, they can be fed to the chickens or even dried a bit and crumbled into the next batch of ugali. As a bonus, it can be molded into a scoop for other moist foods, avoiding the need for utensils. It is placed in a pot on the table along with the accompanying food. Ugali is eaten by hand. A clump of the dough is torn off and a little spoon-like divot is made with the thumb. It is then used to scoop up the other tasty moist food. If you visit Kenya, you're going to see ugali on many dinner tables. Now you'll know how it got there.